Are you a person who is trying to make other people happy, even at the cost of your own happiness or your own needs or of your own feelings? Are you somebody who says yes, even though when you want to say no? Are you a person that does things that you are actually not agreeing with? Are you a person that does things that you're not okay with? Do you find yourself going along with other people's desires? And do you talk yourself out of what's important for you? Then probably you fit in what we call today self-abandonment. I know this is a very new term that we are using nowadays in all social media and in the psychology world, but it's real. It's a behavior that has been observed by a lot of psychologists, and we are actually talking about this today because it's important for our mental health and our relationships. Hi, I'm Vasi Sarandopoulou. I'm your psychologist, and I'm here to explain more about the psychology world, about the human psyche, and how we can feel more connected with ourselves and with other people. Don't forget to subscribe to AntiLoneliness so that you don't miss any of our weekly, full of content videos that are coming in the next weeks. Now, what is self abandonment? What are some examples of self abandonment? It's self abandonment when, for example, you dismiss your own needs. You don't trust your own instincts. When something doesn't sit well with you, when something doesn't feel good for you, you tend to dismiss that feeling, that gut feeling, and you go along with somebody else's needs or priorities. You second guess yourself, you overthink, or you tend to reframe things, but always to your cost. So, for example, at your work, you don't have time for another project, but then a colleague of yours is actually needing more help from you. And they are, in a way, imposing on you that you work on an extra project. Instead of reacting, instead of denying, instead of rejecting that new project, what you are actually doing is you're turning around your own experience and you're thinking, well, maybe I can find some time. Come on, it's not that hard. Or it's not that I'm so busy. I can squeeze some time in there and I'm sure I'm going to find some time for this project. Plus, that's going to be an extra for my career. I definitely need that. So you're denying your own experience and you turn it around so that you can accommodate other people. As a person who is practicing self abandonment, another thing that you might be doing is seek for external validation. You don't think that you are enough, important, successful, smart, or lovable, and you turn to ask a validation from other people. It's important for you that other people approve of you. But of course, as we know already, any external approval, if it's not accompanied by internal acceptance and approval, it doesn't stay long with you. It just stays temporarily and then you keep searching for approval. Another thing that you might be doing is you're hiding some parts of yourself. That means that even though, for example, you like something or you don't like something, if it doesn't resonate with other people, with the people around you, with important people around you, you tend to hide it. That means, of course, that you are living in a relationship with your fake self or with a part of yourself and not with your true, authentic self. You're giving up your hobbies, your interests, your goals, your dreams, your passions, your feelings, your needs. And you allow a lot of space for all these things, but coming from the other person, not from your side. Another element of self abandonment is that you're perfectionist with your own self. You hold yourself up to high standards and to high expectations. You think that you're never enough for other people and you need to try more. And that's why people that they are abandoning themselves, eventually they get exhausted or they get resentful because they are doing all these sacrifices for other people, but it's not always the case that other people can see and appreciate these sacrifices. So of course, you're going to feel resentful for those that they're not appreciating all you have done for them. Another element of self-abandonment is suppressing your own feelings, especially the uncomfortable feelings. Just because you think that there's no space in a relationship or in a moment for these feelings, you tend to hide them under the carpet. Just because you think that maybe you're asking too much, or you're going to be a burden, or you're going to hurt somebody, or bring them in an uncomfortable situation, then you're putting all these emotions in a box and you're hiding them somewhere deep, deep, deep inside you. So you are showing again this happy and positive facade because you think that this is what other people need. But at the same time, you are neglecting and abandoning a big part of you, your feelings. And your feelings are very important. I understand that maybe you ask now, why then we're doing it if it's so negative, it's such a negative behavior? Well, self abandonment didn't start just yesterday. It's a behavior that started usually from our childhood. It's the moment when we realize that there's no space for us, for our needs, and for our feelings. It's the moment that when we reached out to a person from our family, mother or father, or an important caregiver, we didn't get support. We didn't get validation. Or in some cases, we even got abuse or dismissal or rejection. So then we learned that our needs are not important. Somebody else's needs are more important. That's how we started giving more space to others and completely suffocating our own emotional needs. Sometimes this experience, it doesn't need to be a direct experience. It also happens when we live in an environment which is very unpredictable and our main caregivers do need a lot of support. And that can be because a parent, for example, is struggling with their mental health. A parent is struggling with their finances, or a parent is emotionally absent. In these cases, even though nobody has neglected or rejected our feelings, we get the message. We get the message that there's no space for me to ask for something. These people clearly cannot manage their own self, their own life. So, how can they manage me? We get the message that we have to sort it out by ourselves. And that's how we learn self abandonment. Back then, I understand that it was a way of surviving, but right now is a way of attracting toxic relationships, codependency, and other unhealthy patterns in our lives. But how do we stop abandoning ourselves? You might ask, right? So, first and foremost, allow yourself space and time for your needs and your feelings. And why I say space and time? Because usually, when I'm working with people that have been practicing self abandonment for a long time, it's very difficult for them to figure out what they feel or what they need. When I ask them, how does that make you feel? Usually they respond with, uh, let me think about it because I don't have a clear answer in my head right now. And I get it. That's absolutely normal. So create yourself space and time so that you can look inside. You can look inside your feelings. And besides your feelings, try to understand what is it that you value in your life? What is it that gives you joy? What is it that you like and you don't like? What is it that you want and that you don't want? This is a full time project, right? This is something that doesn't happen overnight. This is a mindset. This is a change of mindset. This is a healing process where you allow yourself to get back in contact with yourself and figure out what's important for you so that you can find joy and real connection again in your life. So that's the first thing. Allow yourself time and space so that you can figure out your needs and your feelings. The second thing that you can do is allow yourself to practice self compassion. What we said before is that when we experience negative feelings, we tend to immediately dismiss them and change them into a positive experience. Now it's your time to be compassionate with yourself and allow yourself to see that you're suffering, that you don't like a specific behavior, that you have been treated unfairly, that you're feeling sad, that you're feeling lonely. You don't need to change that reality because that's you and you are important. You are allowing yourself time to see that you are feeling like that, to embrace these uncomfortable feelings. You give yourself permission to take care of these feelings, and that's going to be a very liberating experience for you. So the second thing, try self-compassion. And of course, I don't want to forget it here. If you're looking for more tips and advice and insight on how to practice self-love and self-compassion, have a look at the Academy where I have a whole online course called 30 Days Challenge on self-love and self-compassion that you're going to get a lot of tips on how to practice here today self-love and self-compassion. But let's go back to how we stop self abandoning. The third and last thing that I would like to ask you to do is start saying no when you want to say no and saying yes when you want to say yes. Of course, that comes as a result of you figuring out, as we said in step number one, what is it that you need? What is it that you value? But now we have to say it more explicitly. Now you are allowed to say no when you want to say no. You're not going to lose people who are important to you. You're not going to lose people who value your relationship just because you say no. These people will embrace whatever it is that makes you feel good, makes you feel happy. They're there for you. They're not there only to take from you. So start saying no, practicing with small things, practicing with things like, would you like pizza today? No. Even though a part of you says, well, I don't care, it's fine, pizza is fine. Still, if you don't feel like eating pizza, but you feel like eating sushi, it's fine, you can say that. Start with these small things. And if you don't find it easy to say no immediately, then I have an intermediate step for you. Say something like, let me think about it, and then I will get back to you. A person who is abandoning themselves all the time, they tend to say yes immediately without even thinking about it. So now I'm offering you an intermediate solution, something in between before saying no when you don't feel like doing something. Let me think about it and then I get back to you. During this time that you have, you are going to think how you feel about something that another person has suggested to you. You are going to check with your needs and your feelings without any pressure from another person looking at you or waiting for you. That's your own time for you. That's the time for your feelings and your needs that we said before. So I leave you with these three steps. I hope it was clear. I hope it was helpful. Let me know your comments and your questions in the comments area. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to AntiLoneliness Academy because there are more videos like that coming up. See you soon. Take good care of yourself.